only one word I could use to describe that.
Malakai Bayoh was a young, vibrant talent whose dreams shone brighter than most. From an early age, he showed promise and a love for the spotlight that drew everyone's attention. His journey seemed destined for greatness, a chance to showcase his abilities on one of the world's biggest stages, Britain's Got Talent. But behind the hopeful smiles and exciting auditions lay a story marked by tragedy, heartbreak, and a series of events that no one could have anticipated. While the world watched his performances and cheered for his talent, few knew the struggles Malakai faced away from the cameras. Life outside the stage was far more complicated, filled with challenges that tested him in ways a television audience could never see. As his journey unfolded, circumstances took devastating turns, leaving a lasting impact on his family, friends, and fans. The young performer, who once lit up every room with his presence, became the center of a story that shocked the nation and reminded everyone how fragile life can be. No matter how bright a star seems, the tragedy of Malakai Bayoh isn't just about loss, it's about potential left unfulfilled, dreams interrupted, and the harsh realities that sometimes overshadow talent and ambition. It's a story that challenges us to look beyond the stage, beyond the applause, and remember that behind every smiling face and rising star, there are unseen battles, personal struggles, and moments of heartbreak. In this video, we'll uncover the heartbreaking truth behind Malakai Bayoh's life, a story that Britain's Got Talent never showed. A story that is as emotional as it is eye-opening. From the promise of fame to the tragedy that changed everything, prepare to see the life of Malakai Bayoh in a way you never have before. Malakai Bayoh was the kind of child whose presence could light up a room. Born with a natural charisma and an infectious energy, he quickly became known among family, friends, and community members as someone destined for great things. From an early age, it was clear that Malakai had a spark and innate ability to captivate people with his personality and talents. Singing, dancing, or performing, he carried himself with a confidence that belied his young age, drawing attention wherever he went. Growing up, Malakai faced the usual challenges of childhood, but he also carried a maturity beyond his years. He was thoughtful, kind-hearted, and deeply aware of the people around him. Those closest to him describe a boy who was both joyful and sensitive, someone who could inspire others with a smile but also carried an awareness of the world's difficulties. Music and performance became his outlet, a way to express himself and connect with others in a language beyond words. When the opportunity to audition for Britain's Got Talent came, it seemed like a dream come true. For Malakai, it was more than a competition, it was a stage on which to share his voice, energy, and creativity with the world. Preparing for the audition, he dedicated himself entirely, rehearsing tirelessly and practicing until every move, note, and expression felt perfect. The excitement of being on a national platform thrilled him, but it also came with the weight of expectation. He knew this could be a turning point, a chance to show the world what he was capable of and perhaps secure a future that he had imagined for years. The day of the audition arrived, and Malakai walked onto the stage with a mix of nerves and excitement. The bright lights, cameras, and live audience could have been intimidating for anyone, but he approached the moment with remarkable poise. When he began performing, it was as if the world fell away. Judges, audience members, and viewers at home could feel his passion and sincerity radiating from the stage. This was not just a performance. It was a statement, a glimpse into the life of a young talent full of promise and potential. Yet, even in this moment of triumph, there were hints of challenges beneath the surface. Fame and attention can be intoxicating, but they also come with pressures that few can anticipate, especially for someone so young. Malakai's journey, while inspiring, was about to face obstacles that no amount of talent or hard work could fully prepare him for. The world saw the bright, vibrant performer, but few could see the fragility and vulnerability that lay behind the smile. Sets the stage for a story of incredible promise of a young life brimming with talent and dreams, but also hints at the hardships that were to follow. Malakai Bayoh's story reminds us that behind every star, there is a human being, and behind every dream, there are unseen struggles that can shape a life in unexpected ways. After his memorable appearance on Britain's Got Talent, Malakai Bayoh's world seemed full of possibilities. Doors opened, and people began recognizing him not just for his talent, but for his charm and charisma. Yet, behind the applause and excitement lay a reality far more complex. Fame, especially at a young age, brought pressures and challenges that Malakai and his family were only beginning to understand. While many saw his talent and the potential for success, few realized the personal struggles he faced outside of the stage. Growing up in a society where expectations and scrutiny were ever present, Malakai had to navigate a world that was not always kind. Adolescence is challenging for any young person, but adding public attention amplified the stress. He faced the delicate task of balancing school, family, and friendships while managing the growing weight of public curiosity. Every appearance, every comment, and every performance carried an unspoken pressure to succeed, to be perfect, and to represent a promising future, even with support from family and mentors. The pressures of being in the public eye began to take their toll. The attention, though well-meaning, could sometimes feel overwhelming. Social media amplified both praise and criticism, and for someone so young, the negative side of recognition could be as impactful as the positive. Friends and family worried about how constant scrutiny might affect his mental and emotional well-being. They knew Malakai had incredible potential, but they also feared the world wasn't always ready to protect the vulnerability behind his talent. Beyond the pressures of public life, Malakai also faced challenges that were more personal. Like many young people, he struggled with understanding his own identity, navigating relationships, and finding his place in a fast-changing world. Behind the camera, behind the rehearsals, he was still a teenager, a boy learning how to cope with emotions, setbacks, and the weight of expectations. For someone so bright and talented, these challenges were magnified by the fact that people were watching closely, eager to see every success and stumble alike. Despite these obstacles, Malakai remained determined to pursue his passion. Music, performance, and the dream of making a difference through his talent continued to drive him. Every rehearsal, every audition, and every moment on stage was a testament to his resilience. But the journey also showed that even the most gifted individuals are not immune to life's difficulties. Talent and the potential can open doors, but they cannot shield anyone from the complexities and heartbreaks that come with growing up under pressure. Reveals the hidden struggles behind Malakai's rising star. The world saw a talented young performer with bright prospects, but the reality was far more complicated. Behind every smile and performance were challenges that tested his strength, his resilience, and the support of those around him. It was a reminder that even in the midst of promise and recognition, the human heart faces battles that cannot be ignored. As Malakai Bayoh grew older, the pressures surrounding him intensified. While his talent had opened doors and brought recognition, life outside the stage became increasingly complicated. Teenagers often face challenges in identity, belonging, and emotional growth. But for Malakai, these struggles were magnified by public attention and the expectations placed upon him as a rising star. The applause from fans could not shield him from the difficulties he encountered in everyday life. Despite the support of his family and mentors, Malakai began to face challenges that were largely invisible to the world. There were moments of confusion, emotional strain, and the weight of responsibilities that few teenagers experience. Balancing school, friendships, and the demands of pursuing his dreams required a maturity far beyond his years. Even with a strong support system, the constant pressures of performance and public scrutiny left little room for normal adolescent experiences, moments of carefree joy, mistakes, or simply growing up without being under a microscope. Social media played a dual role in his life. On one hand, it allowed Malakai to connect with fans, share his passion, and gain support from around the world. On the other hand, the negative attention, rumors, and judgment that sometimes accompanied public recognition added a heavy emotional burden. Malakai, like many young stars, had to navigate the double-edged sword of visibility. While audiences celebrated his talent, the constant attention made it difficult to find private spaces where he could simply be himself. Amid these pressures, subtle signs of struggle began to emerge. Family and friends noticed that Malakai sometimes seemed distant, overwhelmed, or burdened by worries that were far beyond his age. The boy who once radiated confidence on stage began to carry a weight that few could see. These moments, though small and often hidden hinted at the emotional turbulence beneath the surface. Turbulence that would eventually play a role in the tragic events to come. Malakai's story is a sobering reminder that talent and recognition do not protect anyone from life's harsh realities. Behind every performance and every smile, there can be unseen battles, mental, emotional, and social, that remain hidden from public view. For Malakai, these struggles were compounded by circumstances beyond his control. Circumstances that the world would later learn about only after tragedy struck. Sets the stage for the heartbreaking events that changed everything. It's a chapter of growing pressures, unspoken struggles, and the fragility that sometimes accompanies young talent. The world may have seen a rising star with incredible promise, but the reality was far more complex, marked by challenges that would ultimately define the tragic course of his story. The story of Malakai Bayoh, once a bright, promising star on Britain's Got Talent, took a devastating turn that shook his family, friends, and community. The young boy who had inspired so many with his talent and charisma became the center of a heartbreaking tragedy that no one could have predicted. The circumstances surrounding his passing left a nation stunned, forcing people to confront the fragility of life and the harsh realities that sometimes lurk behind fame and potential. The tragedy was not just a loss of life. It was the loss of potential, dreams, and the bright future Malakai had been building for himself. His family and close friends were left grappling with grief, asking questions about what could have been done differently, and mourning a young life that ended far too soon. In the aftermath, stories emerged about his struggles, the pressures he faced, and the personal challenges that were invisible to the public. These accounts painted a fuller picture of a talented boy navigating a complex world, one that ultimately proved overwhelming. Beyond the personal grief, Malakai's story resonated on a broader level. It became a reminder of the importance of mental health, community support, and awareness of the pressures young people face, especially those thrust into public attention. Audiences who had celebrated his talent were forced to reflect on the realities behind the stage, the emotional, social, and sometimes dangerous challenges that can accompany even the most gifted individuals. His life, though tragically short, sparked conversations about responsibility, empathy, and the need to protect and support vulnerable youth. Despite the sadness, Malakai's legacy endures. Those who knew him describe a young man full of light, joy, and potential. His performances continue to inspire, reminding people of the talent, heart, and promise he carried. While the tragedy cannot be undone, sharing his story ensures that Malakai is remembered not only for the heartbreaking circumstances of his passing, but also for the life he lived, the dreams he pursued, and the impact he had on everyone who witnessed his gift. Serves as a solemn conclusion to Malakai Bayoh's story, a tale of incredible promise, unseen struggles, and heartbreaking loss. It reminds us that behind every rising star, there are complexities and vulnerabilities that demand compassion and understanding. The world may remember the tragedy, but it should also remember the boy who shone brightly, even if only for a brief moment, leaving an indelible mark on all who knew him.